We are joined by Kevin Sullivan, our Director of Solutions Engineering here at Evolve IP for a live DaaS and Workspaces demo. As we all know, it is a crazy world that we're living in today, and we all have employees working from everywhere. So Kevin's going to be taking us through a demo of Workspaces, which is a far better, less expensive virtual desktop solution that we designed to deliver just the application employees need based on their business profiles. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Kevin Sullivan. Kevin, take it away.
So hopefully you're all out there seeing my browser. So I'm leveraging Chrome from a MacBook, just in case anybody might be interested in what the underlying technology here is. And as we talked about, right, we simply just go to our Clear Login portal. So evolveip.clearlogin.com. I'm going to log in with my Active Directory credentials. So assuming I can type on this Wednesday afternoon, we should get right in here. And then once we get authenticated, simply going to now check my mobile device. And we are leveraging multi-factor authentication for our instance of the solution. So I have my MFA code on my device here. We're just going to enter that. And once we do, we're going to be presented with all of our applications. Now, by virtue of being a sales engineer for Evolve IP, I do have a few more applications in here than most folks probably see in their production instance. But again, I think it's really important that we show you this in production and what our actual utilization looks like so that you can get a sense for how this application functions. So here at the top, everything in this lovely shade of Evolve IP orange, these are all of our internal applications that Evolve IP provides. So things like the different management portals for other solutions that we offer, such as our virtual cloud hosting, so vCloud Director to access your hosted servers, Zerto portal to access your disaster recovery, your Teams or Outlook or Office 365 tenant if we're your CSP and provide your Office 365 licensing. So everything that we do from an Evolve IP perspective, we're more than happy to extend to all of our customers, all of those different management portals at no cost to them. They don't have to pay for access to the identity management platform to get to those things. It's just part of the service that we provide. Where this gets even more interesting is once we get into our workspace and our external applications. So we talked a little bit earlier about the different applications that we have in here. So things like Salesforce, like ADP. So you could direct your users to simply come in and with a single click, I click on my Salesforce tile. And since we're leveraging SSO, we have Salesforce as a single sign-on application. There's no other information that I need to provide. So I logged in one time, and now once I'm logged in, I have full access to all of my different cloud applications. So same thing for ADP. Now, interestingly enough, the version of ADP that we are using at this point in time does not actually support single sign-on. So you see a little bit of a different behavior here, right? We get this pop-up that, hey, Clear Login is logging you into this application. So what that tells you is not only can we leverage this password manager application, not only can we leverage this identity management solution for SSO capable applications, but if you have a web application that is not using single sign-on at this time, that doesn't mean we can't work with it. We can simply leverage ClearLogin's built-in password manager application to still provide a single sign-on-like experience for those web apps. And then lastly, as we talked about, we have our workspace solution. So access to these SaaS applications would be great for folks like your sales team who they don't necessarily need access to internal resources. Maybe they're exclusively working via Salesforce and via a few other web applications in Office 365. But once you get into the users who actually need published applications or published desktops, again, with a single button click, we're now getting into our legacy applications and our full-fledged published desktop. So if I click on this desktop icon, this is going to launch our Workspace Receiver application. And within a second or so here, we now have a desktop session that's up and running that I can effectively work in. I can maximize this across my single display here since I'm on a laptop, or one of my favorite features of the solution, if I had a multi-display setup here where I'm working off multiple monitors, I can simply drag this window across however many displays there are and hit the maximize button and use each one of those displays as a full-fledged single monitor within that solution. So the underlying Workspaces receiver technology is smart enough to know, hey, this is a multi-monitor configuration, and we're not going to worry about expanding a single Excel window across both of those panes. It will treat each one of those displays as an individual display. So the last piece we will look at, we'll disconnect from our desktop here, and we will launch an application as well. So if you had a user who either didn't want to or didn't need to work in a desktop session, but still wanted to launch their applications and have them appear local, like we talked about, we'll use QuickBooks as our legacy application here. And just like with the desktop session, right? So we have an update that we could run if we wanted to. But as far as I'm concerned as a user, this is the QuickBooks that I know and love. And I am now up and running within that application. And I have no idea that it's not running locally from my machine. So it's completely transparent into my operating system. It's able to interact with the underlying drives and everything that I can supply access to if we choose to do so. And when we're done, we simply close it out and we're back to square one, good to go again, and back at our identity management platform and able to launch any of the other applications that we would want to. So folks are now really kind of getting away from that one-size-fits-all mentality and looking to really manage users at the identity level. We have the ability to really cater to what the individual needs of groups of users in your company or organization are. That they could simply open a browser, log in, and connect to Salesforce, connect to ADP, connect to Amex GDD, without having to provide additional sets of credentials, without having to worry about how they're securely accessing those things, without having to cache their username and password within the browser on their local machine, opening up security risks. That is what this solution gives us the ability to do. So we can look at our Workspace solution and have licensing that fits specifically SaaS-only based users. We call that solution Workspaces Core. We can offer legacy-based applications in addition to those SaaS applications. And then lastly, we have our folks who are still in that more traditional model of actually requiring or even just preferring a full desktop experience. So they might use SaaS applications, they might use some legacy applications as well, but they still want to have that Windows desktop that's presented to them that allows them to seamlessly jump between applications, or just have that start menu capability because, again, that's simply the way that they're used to working and what they prefer. The good news is, regardless of what category or more likely categories your users fit into here, this single solution can offer them all of the capabilities across the platform with all of the same security, mobility, and efficiency portions and productivity that we had discussed earlier. So having that ability to gain access to those SaaS applications, to those legacy applications, and to that desktop environment.